So anyways, tell me about your experience with ChatGPT. And if you do have any stories, please, please, please share with us because I think Mentimeter is just for hybrid mode, then, you guys can tell me, but then they cannot hear. So it would be great if you can just use this menti.com and use the code 6503938. I promise that there will be more to come, and I hope you get something out of these. This is actually 真係精華. That's basically all my experience with ChatGPT, which I'm gonna discuss with you soon. Okay, but we have to warm up a little bit. Yeah. So maybe I should open this in the background. Okay, yes. We have 1, 2, 3. I always find it, I'm always curious, why would students participate in activities organized by Language Center? Like, what motivates them to? Because you have to, I'm thinking just as a student myself, and also I'm not a good student, so I usually skip everything. But I'm thinking how to increase the participation and the effectiveness of, these workshops. I think that they could get very useful, especially the ones held by me. Okay, just kidding. Let's take a look at the response. They made up some scholarly works for me when I asked it about suggestions of scholarly work I can look up on. I asked ChatGPT to generate a grammar exercise for primary students. Generating exercise would be a good experience. Is that a good one? Oh, oh, okay, okay, and it's good. Huh. So actually, it helps people make money, and it actually saves a lot of time. So back then, when I had to prepare exercise for my students, I had to go to the library and make the copying myself. Wow. Okay. So then, of course, the first one to make up scholarly works, that would be problematic, right? I also checked this myself. I do a lot of research in cognitive linguistics. I want to check its understanding. It's not very good. But it's also interesting how it made up things. Now, the interesting thing is you could only have this comment when you know what's going on in the field. When you don't know, it could actually trick you into believing that it's good. Hi, Henry. And even for joining Zoom, people have to be late. Can you believe it? Okay. Anyways, so just 2 experiences, fine. Okay, let's go back to my amazing. How do I go back to my amazing slide? Can I hide this here? I think Zoom should improve, but it stopped improving since it has launched, and I don't want to sign in. Okay. Now, I want to show you this. This is hide this. This is part of a recommendation letter that I wrote for my tutee, whom I have. Oh, this is not here on your handout. Sorry. And students on Zoom should have already gotten my materials. Now, but this is not there. This is just, I felt so bad because I asked ChatGPT to revise my tone. And I didn't have the original version. I tried to retrieve it. I lost it. But I want you to take a look at this part. So I just want to give you some sort of background information. I tried to look for pictures of me and Carice, but then I didn't have enough time because today I was too busy. But Carice was my student since she was 5, and now she's 16, 5, like 4 or 5, and yeah, she was very sweet little girl. So let me just go through this with you. Now, this is revised by ChatGPT. I've had the privilege of knowing Carice since she was 5 years old, and I have witnessed her remarkable journey of growth and development over the past decade. Carice has consistently demonstrated an exceptional blend of creativity, outspokenness, and adventurous spirit. Our shared experiences in learning and growing together have been truly special. Now, just this first paragraph, you see a lot of noun phrases. This was not how I write and definitely not how I talk. I think I said something in a more narrative tone. Um, yeah, I was saying that, oh, what a sweet little girl with, she always think out of the box. And then when ChatGPT realized that this is a recommendation letter, then there's no thinking out of the box. Then they basically put my words into an exceptional blend of creativity. Okay. During her early years, Carice displayed a keen interest in various forms of creative expression, from drawing comic strips to crafting short stories, and even concocting her own dessert recipes during our English lessons. Her imaginative approach always stood out. Carice exhibited a unique ability to think outside the box and her enthusiasm for exploring diverse topics. Honestly, if I'm the panel, I will stop reading. Now, what is the problem here? I just want to tell you that I'm again sorry that I don't have that very emotional recommendation letter that I wrote, but I think my original version was already very rich, so you can see that this is actually quite rich with a lot of examples. But something is missing. It's the warmth and the personality as a writer. Okay, it's gone. It's stripped away my emotion as a tutor who worked with Carice for over 15 years, 10 years, 10 to 12, I think. And I had all these little stories where, she wrote a short story and I would say that I wish I could be more like her. Okay. Because whenever I have English classes with her, she would say that, can we make macaroons today? Or tomorrow she would say that I want to make red bean buns. And then sometimes she wants me to draw comics with her and do storytelling. Okay. So obviously she attended an international school. That's why she's not the very obedient kind where I give her some exercise and she worked on it. She had like a lot of ideas. But this one, if you look at this English wise, it's perfect. Diverse vocabulary, but something that's missing, right? And I'll let you review some of these later, which is true, okay? I got this email. A student sent me and said that I would like to ask a professor for help. And after reading that email, I think it's not a good idea because, again, warmth and personality. One thing you are definitely giving up is personality. If you use Chat GPT a lot, basically there's no personality, right? And recently, and I am a linguist, so Noam Chomsky, the father of linguistics, just recently, is it recent? No, it's not recent. March March 8th, 2023. He said that the false promise of ChatGPT. So what did he say? He said that our mind, okay, is actually way better and more efficient in answering questions. We are very efficient. We are very elegant. We don't need an infinite amount of data. We know that ChatGPT have infinite amount of data, but it's actually not smarter than human. Okay. Okay. And the thing is, oh, I have a very interesting thing to share. Bloggers that there's this kind of injection. Um, And once you inject that, it's like you had put on 1,000 sheet masks. So it's very moisturizing with 嗰啲叫唔知咩水光針定係乜針啦。It's a kind of um, product, right? You know what's the question? What is interesting is people would think, whoa, you had 1,000 sheet masks on? But the question is, why do you need 1,000 when all you need is one every few months? So usually, when do I put on a sheet mask? I'm very lazy. I only put on a sheet mask the night before some sort of event that I have to attend. So then my makeup would stay on my face better. And I only need one sheet mask every 6 months. Why do I want to have 1,000 sheet masks on my face for one day? You know, the thing is, it's not about quantity. Is it necessary? Now, for ChatGPT, it's necessary in order for them to figure out the pattern. But human beings, you don't need that much data. So your brain is actually very powerful. But if you continue to use ChatGPT without using your brain, then of course that would be the real problem. Okay. So what is ChatGPT good for? Now, the first thing is it definitely improves clarity because we are second language learners. Sometimes when we try to explain something, we explain it in a very complicated manner in Cantonese in our head, and then we write it out and it looks very bad. And then you ask ChatGPT to improve it. Whoa, sometimes I look at it, oh, I should have said it like this. It's clearer. So definitely it can improve clarity. You can acquire some of the vocabulary of or jargons for different types of writing, which I'm going to show you in the samples that I have. Now, it definitely helps you to gain some initial understanding of a topic. Just initial, okay? Might not be even accurate, but just initial understanding. So what did I do? Can I share this? So we had this argument about literature. What is literature? And is cultural study, English studies, should it be included? Is literature also a type, included in English studies? So we had these meetings, we always have meetings, and then we have to figure out the definition of something. And I'm a linguist, I'm not someone from cultural studies. And I actually, honestly, don't know what is included in English studies. So what I did was, I was very calm, use ChatGPT. What is cultural studies? Is it, a kind of a branch in English studies? And then, so I had to say something during the meeting. So I had ChatGPT in front of me, the definition in front of me. And I said that, well, actually, literature is blah, 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 blah. So, blah, 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 blah. Now, that is good. Just some initial definition. Because in our head, if you ask me, what is linguistics? As a linguist, I will be very overwhelmed. I have a lot of definition. But at that point, ChatGPT can give you just one sentence. But with my knowledge, I could verify whether it's correct. Right? So the thing is, if you want to be able to master ChatGPT, what is the tip actually? You have to be good. You need to read a lot. If coming to the workshop you think that, well, I have some tips for you, the tip is to learn English properly, to read a lot. Actually, you think that all these new technology would help. At the end of the day, the sad thing is, yes, it improves our lives, but it doesn't replace human. And it's not that powerful. Okay. And you know what is worrying? If after today, or you get out of the workshop and you think that, wow, now that I've ChatGPT, I don't need teachers. I don't need to learn English. If you have this type of thinking, or if you hear someone say things like that, that is very ignorant. I actually heard it from someone who worked in some institution, and his English is very, very poor, but he always has to prepare reports. And he said that it's amazing to have ChatGPT because now he doesn't have to write a single sentence. That is worrying because that means he cannot evaluate what is written to him. Okay. So I hope that our students would understand that it can help you improve written product. Now, you see, I didn't write, it helps you to write. It definitely can improve what you have written. Okay. But it doesn't create a piece that would actually match what you need. I think the closest is when you have a piece. How would you be able to appreciate the beauty of ChatGPT is when you wrote something and you can do comparison. So the most common question that I ask ChatGPT is, can you tell me, is this good? That's the first question. I don't ask him, please write something for me. But I will write something and say, can you tell me, is this good? I would even ask ChatGPT to summarize what I have written. You know why? Because when I write let's say I write 1,000 word for that particular paragraph, I want to see whether I got the main points ready in a good flow. So if ChatGPT can summarize what you wrote and actually give you that structure, then you would know whether you are making any sense. Okay? Now, and another thing is with connectives. Remember all these moreover, in addition, additionally, also. And sometimes you don't know how to connect the sentence. People say that transitive. It happened to me as well. I want to write first. After first, should I use furthermore or second? First, third, second, third, finally. So boring. And the connectives are really hard. Now, I realize that on the other hand, it's not really on one hand and on the other hand. On the other hand, seems to be talking about some sort of contrast. Now, that is something that I learned using ChatGPT. Sometimes it helps you to learn, but it cannot produce um, something, a written product, I would say. It would gives you some idea how to, you can use an exercise. Yeah, that kind of work, yes. But a piece of writing, it's not that easy. Okay. And you would know that there will always be a gap between what you have written, okay, and what it or what you wanted to write and what it wrote to you. Okay, so now I'm sorry, but you have to become a better writer in order to use it wisely. And don't ask it to write and then you try to improve on that. Now, that is something that you have to bear in mind. Because you will start to lose confidence in your writing. You will start to become very reliant on ChatGPT. If you make ChatGPT write first, it would already affect you. Okay, so never do that. Never do that. Now, of course, there are many different situations. Now, I'm trying to talk about in the environment of, tertiary education. Write first, because that is when you can maximize the gain. Otherwise, you would be too reliant and then you cannot write something. Okay. And learn to ask good questions. Now, later, I'm going to show you the example what I did. And then you have to continue to learn about the topic without ChatGPT. If you think that, that's all I need to know, then it's very dangerous. You have to verify the information because one of the students already mentioned some weird thing happened. And when you use ChatGPT, always take it with a grain of salt. That means always be a bit skeptical. Don't fully trust it. Okay, you can test it. Now, when you are in the position to test ChatGPT, what does that mean? You know more than ChatGPT. That is when you can test it. Because when you test something, you need to know more than that, right? So I think these are some of the very important things. Now, of course, this is not the end. Now, actually, it's the beginning. This is a workshop. So I want you to look at the first case study. Now, this is the first case. One of the students sent it to me. The scenario is a student writing an email to his professor for assistance. So I want you to read it and tell me what you think. Okay. And students on Zoom can comment using the chat. You can type it into the chat. Oh, can I just write? Can I just write on it? Where's the draw function? Oh, this one? Okay. Done reading. You are the professor. What do you think? Can comment. What do you think? It's not very clear. Not specific enough. Casual. Why casual? Oh, I can't. Casual. Yeah. Casual. Talking to a friend. Not specific enough. What else? Anything else that you want to comment on? Now, I trust this email finds you well. When I read this, I already want to delete. Okay. Okay. Yes. Old school. Yeah, yeah. You find this email finds you well. It's old school. And I trust, I mean, I hope this email, yeah, I hope this email finds you well. It's already quite, it's something that we write to start with a professor. But I trust this email. That's the moment I thought, this is ChatGPT. Yeah. I was asked to comment, and the first comment was, never use ChatGPT to improve your email. It's so obvious. And you know what? Especially with professors and teachers, we just know that this is not from you. And I think we all care about individual style. And a lot of teachers, they care about how much effort. We can forgive grammatical errors, but we cannot forgive this. I need to read this email, but this is from ChatGPT. It's so standardized. Okay. And unclear. You thought that you got everything right. Now this is perfect because this English is perfect, but the message is unclear. So I always tell my students in writing class, don't just think about grammar. Grammar is 5%, 10%. I don't penalize my students because there is 20 grammatical error. In Xuyan, I have 300 grammatical errors in one paper. What I care about is the ideas. Okay? So is the message clear? Okay. Okay, guidance as I navigate challenges in finding a suitable placement for my program. Okay, as I explore opportunities, I found that many placements are structured for sandwich. You keep saying that there are, I found out these, I found out that. So, what do you want? I still don't. Also, I only hear a lot of problems. Also, since I personally do not have a bachelor degree in sports science and not much experience working with athletes, which makes it a bit more difficult. It's all problems. And so, what do you want from me? When you write, what is the purpose? If you are writing to ask for an action, make that clear in the first paragraph, right? Now, this I'm showing you ChatGPT. Can ChatGPT teach you how to write? If you don't know what you want to express, ChatGPT improve it. Oh, which is even worse because it makes it longer. Okay? In the past, you write a bad thing, the email is short. Now I have to read a longer email where I still don't understand what you say. And I think in 4 years of my teaching experience, there was one student who really made me very angry from our department. This student would write things, but it doesn't make sense. It's grammatical, but nothing written makes sense. It was a psycholinguistic paper in the exam. It put all the words together, but it doesn't make any sense. The worst part, I need to process. And I failed to process, but all the words I understand. That's why I was very mad. Now, ChatGPT would do that to your work. So the professor might not like you, but after receiving this email, the professor would hate you. Okay? Professors are human beings. Okay? Behind the scene, if you don't get response, because I see a long email and I don't know what you want from me. Bye. Okay? So so that is the thing. I want to show you that this is written by someone at your age. Okay? Recognizing your expertise. Okay, now shoe shining me. I believe your guidance and insight could be invaluable. Okay. Okay, I attach my CV. So I have problems and then I attach my CV. Do my work for me. Is that the message? So I have problems. So I cannot find a job. I cannot find, oh, now I have to go back to this student and tell that how bad it is. Now I get the real message. Because when I just read this, I read the first sentence and I told the student, don't use ChatGPT. It's bad. But now that I use it as a sample for you guys, I realize how bad it is. Okay. CV given to you. Now I give you my work. You're not asking for assistance. Okay? Appreciate if you have any advice, suggestions, or contact that may help me in this regard. If it suits your schedule, I would appreciate the opportunity to discuss further in person. No, no, no. And why do I give you the reply? Have you been applying for the placement opportunities that I've been sending out since the course started? Worst case scenario, you could undertake the placement requirements on a peer or remotely with an athlete that you know with best wishes and didn't even sign. What does that mean? Now, here, dear Chris, first of all, you cannot Chris him because head of department in London, British culture. Okay? Okay? So, cultural stuff involved, cultural aspects is something that ChatGPT, if you don't explicitly mention, I'm not sure if you say that, can you help me improve this email to a British professor? You can try this. It might tune or adjust. And then I asked the student, why did you call the department head Chris? And then he said, because I heard people calling him Chris. Yeah, but not you. you haven't gotten the permission. Do not underestimate, people, uh, these kinds of politeness is very important, particularly in the British culture. Okay. So it's not like, oh, we are all young generation. There are things, there are rules that are hidden. Okay. And from the professors respond, I would already think that he's not very happy with this email. Okay. So of course I did help. Now this is number two. This is something that I wrote. Okay. The prompt to ChatGPT. Now later, I want you to do something. I just want to talk about the problem and you can see it yourself. Okay. And those practical tips comes from what I just say. I didn't put it in the PPT, but you should know cultural issues. Okay. Now, this is the prompt to ChatGPT that I wrote because I have to write a dissemination note to disseminate my findings to the general public. That was something asked by Education Bureau to ask me to write a one page to talk about my research to not scholars. I was struggling because I need to write like a block entry, obviously. And I wrote it. I sent it to my friend who is also in the field, but she doesn't know anything about cognitive linguistics. All she said was, "I don't understand this. I don't understand that." But I also, for me as a scholar who has trained to write in this way for years, to just talk with scholars, I also find it very difficult. And this is when ChatGPT would be useful, okay, in some ways. So what I say is, I wrote something like this, but it's very hard to balance. Sometimes I'm too casual, sometimes I'm too academic. There's no in between. So I'm not sure whether I'm doing it right. So I asked ChatGPT after I spent hours writing, okay? And I said, how is this for a block entry? So this is the part that I ask. Okay. And I want you to compare it with the revised version. And can you do a proper comparison? I want to give you 5 minutes and you tell me what is the difference between these two? What are the good things um, that has been improved by ChatGPT? What are some of the things that was not improved? Okay. I want you to be able to evaluate that. Oh, did I? Oh, I actually copy and paste twice. So it should be shorter. It should be this short. Oh, actually, I wrote more than that. So these are also rephrasing what I have written. But also, I want you to try to see the common pattern by reading more output from ChatGPT. Are these students from online? Can you introduce yourself a little bit and tell me what do you want to learn and also like anything problems questions you have. Don't be shy. You're already you are behind the scene anyways. I just want to know more. I think all the workshops should be done in school on site because then you can kind of yeah and separate that, then you don't have to do it on your own. You can read. Okay, I just want to talk about the beginning. Now this is obviously it's me. It's in my head. Let me explain it with an example. What comes to your mind when I say this? Okay? Then if you have enough interaction with the physical world, the mental scene that pops up in your head should be quite like the comic strip shown below. So I do have the comic strip. Now, here, have you ever considered the mental imagery that words can evoke. Take, for instance, the simple word over. Picture this: something jump over the wall. If you've had enough encounters with the tangible world, your mind likely conjured a scene akin to a comic strip. Again, it's too formal. And again, it's not me. Okay. And the thing is, you have to think about this. Is it necessary? Was the original one not good? Or what is not good in the original one? What should be changed? Now, something should be changed. For example, you have to be very sensitive. You've had enough encounter. So here, present perfect tense. If you have enough, so here I should change it to if you have had enough interaction. Because ever since you were born, if you have had enough up to this point, you should be able to have this image. When I say the cat jumped over the wall, right? There's a cat doing this. Everyone should have a same picture when I say the cat jumped over the wall. It should be something like this. If someone have the cat jump over the wall and the cat is just here, if you have a picture like this, something's wrong with your world, not mine. Okay, so everyone should have that image when I say something jump over the wall. Okay, now, but if I say the worm jump over the wall, now everyone should have some sort of But if people said that, yeah, that works. Now there's again something wrong with the worm in your world. Okay, because the things that I'm saying, it's basically common sense. Okay, now one thing I figure out is the tense, the use of tense was not specific enough. It's not wrong if you have enough interaction, but by using if you have had enough, it highlights the past up to this point. But if I just say that if you have enough, it's more about now. Yeah, it's factual. Yes. So, see, this type of discussion or this type of understanding, you need to first know present perfect tense, the function. You need to know what is the difference. You need to be able to figure out that. Tell me that you can do so without proper English. You cannot, right? So, this is the only thing that I would change, but I would not use this completely. Now, but I would always read it. And like this part, your mind likely conjured a no. Okay. Another thing here, I use a sentence structure. The beauty of these schematic diagrams not only lies in their ability in explaining this, but they are also now. This is something that's problematic. It's I think it's called parallelism. So let's say here, not only lies in their ability, that is a noun phrase. Okay, not only lies in the ability, the second part should also be a noun phrase in order for it to be parallel. Okay, so we look at ChatGPT. Their beauty lies not only in elucidating tangible relationship, but also in the ability. So you see the parallel structure there. All right. So what is this? This is a topic in English writing called parallelism. When you have noun phrase, um in the first part, and if you use a connective like and, you want to use the same thing. Okay, okay, that is parallelism. So you wouldn't know. Now if you don't reflect by comparing your writing with the ChatGPT writing, you won't be able to learn, right? You would just, okay, ChatGPT said this, I'll use it. But using this is actually a big sacrifice because the first one, there's you in it, there's your style. Now, you are sacrificing your own style for perfect grammar. If you adopt this version completely. So you should pick up the things and do the contrast. But in order to do that contrast, to understand what's wrong, because ChatGPT is not telling you directly, hey, this is wrong, but it just improve it. You see what I'm saying? So it's still not useful enough. Okay. So in order to be good, today I'm talking about like mastering this. You need to dive into the two versions, the pain of writing. Okay. If you really want to learn, I think I have improved. My writing has also improved because I am doing this practice with ChatGPT. But this is not easy. You have to write first. Okay. So, and also they like to use this kind of, if you pay attention, they like to use this type of dash, this type of punctuation. Actually, I find it very good because um, it's like relative clause where you give additional information, right? Ivy, who is a professor in the English department of Hong Kong University, is now doing something in the UK, okay, doing research in the UK. So the thing between the comma is actually additional information. But sometimes you have a lot of comma. People might not understand that this is additional information if they are not smart enough. But with this type of dash, it's very clear that the function is to provide additional information. Okay. Enter the world of schematic diagrams. What are schematic diagrams? Visual tools that transcend the boundaries of physical representation. Okay. Now, engage your perceptual senses. What are perceptual senses? The five senses, basically. What is perception? It sounds very difficult. Students ask me, oh, I actually have this question. What is, I got this question. I gave a talk in York. This question, it's really crazy. Student asked, MA student, what is cognition? After I talk about cognitive linguistics. What is cognition? It's a buzzword, right? It sounds cool. Cognitive science, cognitive linguistics, okay, cognitive tools, brain. Cognitive, it's brain. Anything that's cognitive is related to the brain. So do you think brain is a very cool word? No, but you think cognition is very cool. Artificial intelligence, cool. They're computers, basically, doing work. Okay. You need to understand that they are just playing with words. Okay. Recently, I also find this as students who do uh, statistics analysis, they always talk about models. They train models. They train this model, train that model, they build a model. As a non-stats person, I thought it's something very complicated, okay? I realized the so-called model is basically a formula. A, a formula that they don't really have to build. Mathematicians have done the work. You just write that one single line of code, and that is called a model. And then you build multiple model to test. So what does that mean? If I have an experiment, I want to look at how different types of instruction improve the your performance of preposition. I have instruction type, participant. That is one model. I have instructional type, participant, preposition. That's second model. So the use of words that makes it sound so fancy. Get to the bottom of this. Okay, so perceptual senses is basically whatever that's perceptual, how do you receive? Okay, perceptual. How do you receive things, messages from the external world? Through your five senses. Okay, how do you perceive the world? I perceive it with my eyes, my sense, the sense of touch and all that. So then this is to make it easier to understand. Remember, after the dash, it should be simpler. Okay? So the dash basically means in other words. Okay? In simpler terms. That's the dash. So do not make the thing after the dash more complicated than the one previous. Okay? Do not make it more abstract. After the dash, you make it simple. Anyone should be able to understand. So ChatGPT taught us how to use dashes. Pay attention to how ChatGPT use dashes. Okay? And learn and practice it yourself. Now, another thing that ChatGPT is particularly good at, and I think second language learners are not so good, it's with the punctuation. Try to observe how they cut sentences or thoughts into smaller chunks. And let me tell you, there are tools to detect plagiarism, right? AI plagiarism. So actually, at the beginning, the school was very nervous. People were saying that, 哎呀，點算啊？而家有 ChatGPT，啲學生咧一定係咁抄啊！What should we do? What should we do? Everyone was so nervous. If you are a linguist, you won't be nervous. 學生都唔係 ChatGPT 喺度之前都已經抄㗎啦。You can hire someone to write it for you. 我之前已經喺度 detect 緊 plagiarism without using very guide. I said, that student writing class, I asked him to come up. I said, I put it there. I said, do you want to rewrite this or how should we proceed? Or I give you an F. The student said, no, what's the problem? I said, the problem is this is not written by you. No, it's written by me. I did a lot of research. I did a lot of studies. I just need to rephrase this better. I said, no. The student argued for 10 minutes. Then I said, no problem. Take a pen. Just write me 10 words, 10 to 15. And then I would know. So I said, do you want to rewrite your draft or do you want to do this little test of 15 to 20 words just on the spot? I'll go back and revise it. Okay. So the thing is, now we are all on the same page that we know using ChatGPT is it's not a secret, right? Everyone needs to use it. I use it. I have more examples. I'm completely not shameless. You know, one of the emails, okay. As the G director, I actually use ChatGPT to help me write the abstract for for the did I post this here? Oh, I actually did. I'm really shameless. There's this exercise, but I want you to look at that. It's very good. I'll teach you. Another sentence structure. What I want you to learn is sentence structure. This too. Let me talk about this. I think I can talk for 3 hours, but let's not do that. In this block entry, we will explore the profound impact of schematic diagrams, unraveling their potentials to not only explain physical phenomenon, but also to, now, parallelism. Always be careful when you use not only, but also. It has to be parallel. To not only explain, but also to mirror. You cannot say, but also mirroring. Okay? So pay attention to parallelism. ChatGPT has done a good job. And how many ideas are there? In this blog post, first of all, I narrow down the context here in this blog post. We will do this in this workshop. We will. That's the aim. Okay? I aim to do that. But what do I want to achieve? 2 things I want to achieve. Now, if I just use unraveling the potential in explaining physical phenomenon, that's 1 point. But I want to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So I even add a not only, but also in the later part, in order to have two ideas, two benefits of what I try to do, my action is to explore the profound impact. And by doing so, I achieve two advantages at the back, unraveling their potential, not only to not only explain this, but also to do this and that. Now, I think that this is a little bit greedy because there are three advantages there already. Okay. Explain, mirror, and amplify. Okay. A little bit too. So, but at least this is a sentence structure that is very commonly used by ChatGPT. I will do something, unraveling da 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 da. These are the things that I tell students, the structure that I taught students to use. They don't use. And then they said that ChatGPT do a good job. Nothing that great. I taught you that too. Okay. Um, and also you see here it said delve into, but actually what I used at the beginning was I actually changed it. I said dive into. I like dive into better when I talk to humans. Let's dive into the topic because it's more vivid, as if we are all diving into the sea now to look at fishes. You know, yeah, the metaphor sense, it actually trigger the perceptual senses. When I say that, let's dive into this, or let's crack on, or crack some jokes. When I say crack some jokes, you immediately the word crack kind of evoke that sense of cracking an egg, you know, or you crack because it's funny, okay, and it's just a lot of senses that has been evoked. So that is sometimes that are the things that I would like to use my own words to create that emotional attachment or that kind of emotional experience or sensational experience with my writers. But at the same time, learning how to connect action with advantages using the sentence structure provided by ChatGPT. Join me on a visual and conceptual journey as we navigate the intricate landscapes. Right, that's too much. So I changed something. Okay. So I think by now you would see that the style is ChatGPT, boring, very structured, okay, no personality. Now, but the good thing is I wrote this original abstract. So I want to, I am actually delivering a talk to our colleagues. And I said the restructured program begins here. In addition to the introduction to this, now, I'm a good writer. This sentence structure, I think it's very nice. If you want to say that this program provides you more than one thing, you can start with the good thing with connecting that to in addition to. Okay. So, in addition to the entree, for example, the main dishes, you will also get dessert. Okay. Or in addition to workshops, you also get practical training. So you want to say that there are two things, but you put one in with in addition to, and then you talk about the other one. So there are two things. Okay. But if we are not familiar with the sentence structure, you might say something like, oh, the area D will introduce or the restructure program will introduce new aims and introduce a new area. Because this is how you think, right? This is how you think, that is the thinking flow. But the thing is with writing, what makes your writing not good enough is because you just basically write what you think. And then you, without considering that, oh, what are the sentence structure? What kind of structure should I use to explain these ideas? So you need to have the kind of sentence structure ready. For example, this time I have three benefits, two action. What is a good structure? How can I match? You know, so you have to be very familiar And you need to know that, what is one thing, what is special about ChatGPT writing versus actual human writing? How do you know the pattern? How do you detect plagiarism? ChatGPT use very clear structure, always shorter. Human writers like to write longer sentences, connecting all the ideas without punctuation. Everything is ongoing. And sometimes you don't realize that. And sometimes when you write, why do teachers always say, check your punctuation, use connectives, transitives? Because all these transitives are in the head, but it's not written out. The logic is there, but teacher, you find out my logic. That's how I felt as a reader of a lot of writing. Okay, and whenever I ask for clarification, students would say that, when I read their research paper, 呢度咧，我即係我嘅意思係咁啊. This is what I meant. Okay, so I teach. I also see some students from mainland China. So they also tell me that 这个我是想这样说的. But you have to communicate that. I'm not the worm in your stomach. I should not be the person connecting all the dots together. Oh, that's what you want to say. Usually, what happened is that 睇晒都唔知你講乜. That's what happened. 但係你哋又覺得自己寫得好好喎. Okay, you think that, wow, that's fabulous work. It happens to me too. Now, sometimes in writing, I don't know if you have that feel. You wrote something, you know that it's not very good, but you don't want to rewrite it. So you think that 係得啦，呢個 OK 嘅，明㗎啦, should be fine. And then 唔得咯. Reviewers, that's what reviewers do. Why do we scholars 即係我哋咧成日俾人哋 review. People always review our writing. This is unclear, that is unclear. Then the first reactions, 識唔識睇啊你? Clear. It's very clear. And then after 2 days, go back to the comment again. 真係好差. Okay, it's really not clear. Because you know why? You don't want to revise it. So writing classes, the idea is not bad to write first draft, second draft. Why do you have to write multiple drafts? Because the first draft is never perfect. But everyone is very traumatized or intimidated by the fact that you need to revise something. You just want to write and approve. You don't want to correct it. Okay, so now ChatGPT so you see that I do this. Something very bad. This talk will first briefly introduce the new direction, okay? Followed by practical tips on course design and course outline preparation. The talk will share some common concerns raised. The talk will also, now here this will also, but there is a missing connective here. Okay, let me tell you, I was very sleepy. I don't want to work on this abstract because I have tons of other things to do. So I just write something. Now for me, okay, I know that this is not perfect. But I just get all the main points out first. Then ChatGPT helped me put all the connectives back in. Okay, first revision. The restructured GE program was implemented at the start of academic year, featuring the introduction. Now, instead of using in addition to, it changed something here by adding this to the first part, not the second part. Using the word featuring, right? So this is again a very common structure that I mentioned from ChatGPT. So what you can do is, let's say you don't know how to use this structure. Just write whatever and see how it would use this structure to help you improve your writing. And next time you slowly learn, oh, this is the situation where I can also use this structure. Okay? So this is the decision to connect. Now, the restructure program also brought forth, now also has been used here. So the first thing was featuring this, and it also did that. Now, then it didn't say anything It didn't say the third thing because it merged this to the first part. And then there's also, which already talk about three things. Now, next is this presentation will provide a brief overview of new directions within the GE program, along with, now here I use followed by. Not that it's wrong, it's just different structure because I asked ChatGPT to rephrase it. Now, in this case, you can decide which one to use, right? Then you can decide which one to use. Along with practical tips, okay, it will address common concerns. Now, okay, see, look here. This presentation will provide, it will address. So sometimes connectives are also not necessary. See? So now that is something that you can pay attention. Then you don't have to force yourself to first, second, also, third, another point. Okay? You can use structure, sentence structure to give your idea structure and flow without using first, second, third. Okay, so there are 2 points, and it will address common concerns and highlight key points from the most recent QA menu. Finally, the primary objective of the talk is to offer clearer guidance for course development. Now, again, the same structure, ultimately enhancing efficiency. See? Keep using the same structure. That's why you can immediately detect it when it's ChatGPT. You see what I'm saying? That's why I said don't just use ChatGPT because it's getting boring. It's more or less the same structure, nothing new. Okay. And then I asked for a second revision because this is 112 words. No, not good enough. So I said, can you add more information to a talk called Writing Good Course Outlines? The restructured GE program. This is the name that they gave it to me. So I just put this and I asked ChatGPT, can you add more information? Now, at this point, ChatGPT, actually, the good thing of ChatGPT is that it understands what you wrote earlier. It will continue the conversation. That's important. So the first part, they already know that what I was talking about. Okay. Now I want a second revision. I want more information. Now, this second part is based on what I have already written. So ChatGPT already knows more or less what I want and just to expand it. I think it's quite good. Okay. Because this type of abstract, okay, this type of abstract is again delve into you see that some of the words it repeats a lot. Okay. Addressing issues. Additionally, it would do this, it will provide this. It doesn't add one connective every single time. Okay. Again, ensuring that course outline meet the necessary standard. See, now another very good structure that is this one to further support. This is the target to further support course development. What should I do? Okay. So to improve your English, you should read more books, right? So you're just playing with what's important. Okay. So if you say you should read more English books in order to achieve the goal, then you basically just put the goal first. What is our goal? Okay. What is our goal? So the message is you need to be able to appreciate, the different kinds of structure by ChatGPT. For example, here, you can also start with present participle, building upon this foundation. The workshop will delve into. So you can also start with ing, right? For example, I also want to talk about my main goal. I can say, holding this workshop, okay, holding this workshop, I hope to do something. Okay. What I want to do is, what is my goal is at the back, but my action is at the beginning. Holding the workshop. Okay. I am hoping to. Okay. Or you can change this and see, it's just always attendees will be guided on how to access and utilize. Now, some of these words, the words like utilize, maximize, these are the words you can learn from them. Leveraging. Okay. Some of these that we don't use. Okay. And instead of finally, by the end of the session, attendees will have a clearer understanding. Again, the same structure. Can you see? Enabling them to create course outline that align with the goal and contribute. It's actually very dense, these sentences. Okay. But actually I honestly I didn't care. I just used this because I think not a lot of them read it, but I'm gonna because it's true that I'm gonna cover all of these things. If you like to read the ChatGPT version, read it. But of course I'm not gonna give this version, the second version, because it's a bit too short. Because I what I want the talk, because that talk is about writing good courses, course outlines for the GE program. I want them to understand that it's gonna be a dense course. I am gonna give information because I want to attract more colleagues to come. So by giving them a ChatGPT abstract, they would see that it's a very rich course. Okay. I hope that to give them that sense. Okay. Um, so actually, this is a real thing that I did. Finally, the very short one. Now you can take a look at these two, the original writing and the ChatGPT output. Oh, wow, 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 almost done. 5 minutes. Perfect timing. Now, if you look at the original writing and the output from ChatGPT, I proudly say that I think I write pretty well because even ChatGPT couldn't manage to change it, completely change it. Actually, just changing some of the synonyms, right? But because to ensure is what I wrote, it's a very similar structure. ChatGPT say in order to enhance the efficacy instead of effectiveness, right? So these are the words that are synonyms. If you are good, you should know that they are just synonyms, right? Okay. The good thing about the first sentence is that instead of putting that in a bracket, it actually says such as preposition rules. It just pull it out into tangible symbolic tools because of the word materialized. Okay. Because I use materialize. I think that tangible tools would be actually better because materialize seems a little bit too abstract. Now, I use further. ChatGPT use moreover. All the diagrams used in the current study capitalize on the cognitive semantic analyses. Here, again, it used leveraged cognitive semantic analysis to foster a heightened instead of increased level of understanding. Now, what I want to say is that you can learn these words heightened, foster, nurture, leverage, utilize. But if you look at it, more or less similar words that they have been using, okay, for a particular type of writing. Okay. But the thing is, try to mix it. If you use all these words and put all these big words together, it's actually not very pleasant to read. Heighten, foster, utilize, leverage. It's too much. It's too much. And obviously, it's from ChatGPT. So we don't want that. Okay. So I hope that this gives you an understanding on, how you could make use of ChatGPT. Of course, if you think that after 1.5 hours you'll be a better writer, just by sitting here listening to me talk. Not good enough. Okay. But one thing, at least I hope I gave you some practical tips to how to appreciate the writing and see the pattern of ChatGPT actually is more or less the same. Okay. If you want to become a better writer, you need to write a lot and do comparison. Remember to ask it to revise things for you, or ask it to comment, ask it to summarize your own writing. So you check whether you have a clear flow. Okay. So I occasionally like to share resources, but I'm very lazy here. But I have a lot of things here, but I seldom hold workshop. So I want to do more workshop, but I don't know. I'm not very good at creating tasks. I'm very good at just talking about my experience. So at least I have all these examples. These are actually things that I have accumulated over the last 2 months. Okay. So I hope that you had a good time and learned something from this workshop. And yeah, I'll see you around when I come back, or occasionally when I hold workshops. Okay. So I will also be holding talks. I sometimes give, I'm going to give a talk on linguistics for English majors on linguistics in CUHK on the 9th of March. There will be a talk on my research and a lot of different talks. Anyway, so thank you